The Vietnam War was a difficult chapter in our nation's history. Some 59,000 Australians served, 520 paying the ultimate price. For many, the end of the war marked the start of a personal fight that's resonated throughout the years. The physical and emotional scars of service in Vietnam are still felt today by those who served and by those nearest and dearest to our service personnel, wives, partners, children, the broader family. But if there's one thing that Vietnam veterans are known for, it's the strong bond between each of them, a commitment to support each other, to care for each other, and to stand up for what they deserve. The Vietnam Veterans Counselling Service is a legacy of this mateship, founded because of the efforts of Vietnam veterans in lobbying for counselling support and assistance, support that they needed, support that they deserved. Today, there are now 15 VVCS offices across Australia. During the past 25 years, the VVCS has established a reputation for providing professional and responsive service, a dedication and respect for the veteran community, and a genuine contribution to the well-being of veterans and their families. The VVCS continues to provide support not just to Vietnam veterans, but also to their partners, wives, widows, sons and daughters. It also provides support for new generations of veterans, peacekeepers, peacemakers, and eligible ADF personnel. Today, the VVCS provides counselling and health and lifestyle support to improve the quality of life and the well-being of all of our veterans community and their families. In recognition that the service is open to all veterans and to respond to calls from the veteran community to reflect this fact in the name of the VVCS is changing its name. It will now be VVCS, Veterans and Veterans Family Counselling Service. It's hoped that this more inclusive name will encourage younger veterans and their families to access the benefit, support services that are available through the VVCS, ensuring that those benefits established by the service, founded by our Vietnam veterans, are shared with all Australian veterans and their families, both now and into the future. The effectiveness of the VVCS is best known by people who have benefited from the services that it offers. The following are some personal stories about how individuals have been helped by the support and service available by the VVCS. And as we listen to their experience, it's important to remember that the support and service that they've received is thanks to the mateship of the Vietnam veterans and their determination to make sure that services and support that are needed are available to those who need it.
I was a regular serviceman. I joined up in 1968. Then I found out that Vietnam was on, so I applied after doing my core service to join and go over to Vietnam. I was with 6RA on their second tour, and I was an assault pioneer. Being an infantry unit, we were out most of the time doing cordon searches, patrolling and things like that. I was attacked on a couple of occasions. We had contacts and we had to go and chase after a few VC. I also had to, at one stage, do first aid on a VC that had his leg shot off. When I came home, I was still in the forces and stayed in the forces for another 17 years. So I didn't really need any assistance at that particular stage. But I found out close to the end of my service that I was like a few other people that had come back from Vietnam, that there was something slightly strange about us. So I started sussing out through doctors and other professionals what it might be, and found out that I was diagnosed with PTSD. So I took it upon myself to go in and see VVCS in Brisbane, but never used their actual services up there. It was only when I was moved down to Canberra that I needed their services. I've been using the services now for approximately 3.5 years, and I've found out that every time I've needed to obtain some information from the VVCS, they've always been available. The courses that they do are very informative. The counselling service that they do is excellent. VVCS has benefited me through their services and the services that they offer other people. Not only has VVCS helped me, but it's helped other people that I've been involved with, including my family.
He went to Vietnam in 65, 66 with the 1st Battalion Royal Australian Regiment. I was in the Army and we met actually on a train. He was in transit to a new unit and I was going back off leave. John and I have been married for 40 years almost, yeah. We were married in 1967 and so this year will be our 40th anniversary. We've been very close to divorce on more than one occasion. John learned about it when it first opened up in Sydney in Granville office there, and he went for a little bit of counselling there and they put him onto a psychiatrist at Concord Hospital where he ended up having some hospitalisation time, and when it came to Canberra he actually sorted out again, which was a lot of years later. And the last couple of years, I've known that as a wife and my children, that it was open to us as well. And I just, last year everything came to a head and I came here for some help. And I've been receiving it ever since, yeah. But here the counsellors are being taught and they're getting information and they're able to deal with the issues that are the things that are stressing us and causing us anxiety, you know. And yeah, very important. I've been having counselling for about the last 10 months, I think. And I did a sleep course which gave me a lot of information and has helped me tremendously. I think just simply doing these courses gives you the ability to deal with the situation yourself at home. You don't sort of panic anymore, you know. And plus the fact that I'm coming to counselling, I have someone I can talk to that's here for me.
My father was sent to Vietnam. He was at Dun Truon at the time, and we went from Wagga Wagga, and from there we went to Malaysia. The whole family went to Malaysia, and we're at Butterworth in Malacca. And my father was involved. I believe he did 2 tours in Vietnam. The first tour was with the training corps, and the last tour he was the last person to bring back the soldiers from Vietnam, from the training corps. It was very difficult for him to talk about his experience in Vietnam. A lot of my knowledge has come from being involved with the services here at the counselling services, being involved with the Sons and Daughters project. And so for me, the knowledge and the time has been very difficult to get information from my father, as he has been suffering from post-traumatic stress, and a lot of his memories have been blocked or has been very difficult for him to recall through the trauma that he experienced in Vietnam, which also affected myself and my whole family. Growing up as a daughter, growing up after the trauma of my father's experience in Vietnam was very difficult for the whole family. It was very traumatic for my father's relationship with my mother. They separated when I was 13, and my father experienced a lot of emotional problems. Initially I was introduced to the services through a friend, and she introduced me to the Sons and Daughters project. I have benefited from the counselling that I have received in the past, and also with the counselling that I am now receiving at present. It's a wonderful service to know that it's available to people who may be struggling with past trauma or maybe struggling with general life issues, and knowing that this service is also free has really helped me. Being involved in the Sons and Daughters project was beneficial because it gave you a link to other people who had experienced similar upbringings to myself. There was a unity, a comradeship, an understanding and an acceptance of what our fathers had been through. It was a very compassionate environment to be in. It was also very emotional listening to some of the other people's stories, as we could often relate to them ourselves.
Yeah, my role within the Department or Army was medical services, and I was fortunate enough to deploy with the first Rwanda and Push, or Unimi 1, and my title was the Company Sergeant Major for the medical company there. It certainly was confronting. There was a lot to deal with it, both personally and professionally, and it takes you a long time sometimes just to come to grips with those sorts of experiences that you have overseas. Coming back home was very confusing. On one front, you were confused on your professional, where you were professionally in the military, and also on the personal front, things had changed on the home front. My wife and I were starting to experience a lot of troubles. There was a lot of confusion with the children, so you couldn't sort it out which one was the priority at that time. So it was very confronting when you got home. There was also a process of anger, a lot of anger, internal anger, and what you experienced over there. And sometimes you can carry that on for a long, long time. It wasn't really until I got out of the service that a friend from Vietnam mentioned that this service is provided, and although it can be confronting sometimes, but beneficial, it'll be beneficial for you. Well, at the moment I've accessed the counselling services. I've had access to psychiatrical appointments as well, and it is only very early for me, but it's still going on. So it's a matter of just seeing what suits you at the time. It has been useful. For my own personal journey, it's been a matter of, no, that's not me, that's not it. But it's a matter of getting used to that and taking it in on a holistic, and it has a beneficial too, not only for your own self, but for your relationships as well. So once you get over that anger bit, which sometimes I still slip in and out of, it does turn out beneficial. So it's been very beneficial for me. Certainly you might go through an operation yourself, whether it be peacekeeping, team or whatever it might be. They're all different operations, but they can all have the same outcomes. And the staff are very well attuned of what the complexities that you might have gone through personally and professionally. So it is a valuable service. It'll confront you, but at the same time, it'll make you aware of where you are. Rather than being a loner and isolated, I now am more involved in what happens on the family front and so forth like that.
The impact of the Vietnam War is still being felt more than 30 years after the end of that conflict. The VVCS has established a proud tradition of caring for Vietnam veterans and their families, and will continue to do so as long as it is necessary. But a new need has arisen. Younger veterans need these services. By opening the door of the VVCS to this new generation, we're ensuring that the legacy created by the Vietnam veterans lives on.